All right, what is up? Welcome to the movie review podcast. Still working on some names. Hopefully soon we'll get our permanent name. We were talking a little off air about it. But yeah, man, how you doing this week, man? How was Easter? Was it Easter this week? Yeah. No, that was last weekend, wasn't
Last week. But what's
it?
up?
I'm all mixed up.
My name is Will. This is Kramer. We're reviewing this week for the new film release that we do. It's called Thunder Force. Thunder Force. Let's start off on just that alone. I want to kind of nitpick that. Um, Before we do you have a trailer by any chance ready?
Yeah, I'm getting it right now.
My overall take on this film, I had to stop. Let me just say right now, I had to stop 30 minutes in just to take
Really?
a lap. Yeah. It was so underwhelming. It really was. I was I was not expecting what I did. I was thinking like, you know, out of a movie like this, seeing the characters that I'm seeing, it's not your typical superhero type story. Well, kind of, but it's not your typical models for what you see in a superhero.
Yeah.
For
Oh yeah, definitely.
so that kind of is, I don't know. It was disappointing for me.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I'll talk about it because I have some feelings about it.
Okay.
But let's watch the trailer. I'm gonna have the volume kind of down because last time it was copyright strike, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit really low.
But
So the
well,
overall start is it's these two main characters, right? We have Octavia Spencer,
Octavia Spencer,
Melissa McCarthy,
McCarthy.
and it's a real odd duo that you wouldn't really expect to like team up. But
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, it was a weird team up.
and I didn't see Melissa McCarthy doing superhero movies. I didn't think that was gonna be a thing. But here we are, right? We have a little bit of the scene of where Melissa gets a hold of some special serums that are
Yeah,
having to do with like genetic splicing and genetic mutations and stuff like that. You see her face swell up and look
yeah. It
super.
was based in Chicago, which I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like
That
that was
was
kind of
cool.
cool.
That was
So
one
like for
cool
us,
thing. It,
yeah.
it wrapped a lot for us, but it kind of made us look like dumb, fat, and stupid.
Funny.
I don't like my representation being based off Melissa McCarthy. I can't do it. And then,
Yeah.
man,
Well, she's very Midwestern.
yeah,
Like a lot of the things she does is very Midwestern. This part was kind of funny. That's actually Melissa McCarthy's husband
that
is the
is.
guy
He's the one that
that's getting
directed the
tased.
movie. Yeah, he
Yeah,
directed the film.
yeah.
That's
They're
interesting.
always in the movies together.
Are they
Them
really? Oh,
and
okay.
Bateman. Yeah, yeah. I think this is their fifth like
Mhm.
movie kind of doing it together kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, her oh my god, what's her name? She's the girl that plays Mantis in Guardians, and
Oh,
it was
she
so
is.
different. It just threw me off because the voice is the same voice. I think she's got that same voice, but it was a completely different character, different attitude. It was really, I'm sure, good for her. Like she got to be evil. You know,
Right. She gets to kind of broaden that spectrum of what her skill set is. Yeah.
well,
I mean, she did okay. She looked pretty intimidating, but nothing in this film, and I'm sorry to say it, but nothing wowed me about this film. The
yeah,
name
yeah, no,
Thunder Force. Why?
yeah. It was just good. This was kind of funny though. For me, this whole movie was very. I thought it was gonna be really stupid, like just really, really stupid,
Okay.
and I wasn't really expecting much from it anyway.
Okay.
Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a great movie, but
Yeah.
it gave me some chuckles. It gave me some chuckles, but
It did.
it wasn't like, but same thing, like it kind of the beat, like you said, maybe the first 30 minutes was kind of like once they really got into like being superheroes is when it got better for me. But
Okay.
there were a few chuckles, a few parts where I kind of like ha, like okay, that was kind of like
Gotcha.
funny, but for the most part, it was okay, I guess. I mean, I think the best platform is Netflix that it came out on. You
I
know,
I think it should have been a web series. Like it should have been a YouTube video.
or YouTube like Premiere, YouTube Red, or whatever they call it.
For real. I don't think it
That
should
would
have
have
had
been good.
like I think it stretched on longer than it needed to. It was an hour and 45 minutes
Or do you, yeah, yeah.
and that was just too long. It was too long. And here's the
Really?
thing, I actually in my opinion, I feel like I was having a tough time trying to watch Eric Andre's movie because it was just a
Mhm.
lot of string along pranks and like yeah there's a storyline but it's just a lot of randomness here
Yeah,
you get also a lot of randomness but it's very awkward and very cringe inducing
yeah,
and
that
like
was
it, I
cringy.
know you know you're gonna see people in the comments or maybe people that watch this you're gonna say oh comedy is subjective. It is subjective, right? So stuff that makes you know group A people laugh is not going to make group B laugh. I understand that.
Yeah,
But this is not even like worthy of being on the big screen. Like this should have been
yeah, no, no. I I agree.
very
Yeah, this is definitely not. This is not a movie thing. This is you don't go to the movies. This is a Netflix, Hulu. You know, even you said like
right.
maybe a YouTube kind of red thing. Definitely kind of a thing. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
So you want to break down the film a little bit
yeah,
and on what happens? So
yeah,
kind of give a little
well,
clarity on why like
yeah.
why we think what it is. Let's kind of look at what it is, right? So it's two girls that are completely different backgrounds, right? You have one African American chick who's kind of the nerdy, you know, bookworm type,
Hmm.
and then you have white chick that is kind of troubled, has some you know some things at home that are not going too great for her, so she kind of acts up, and she you know it's kind of a fuck up, you know, that's her
Yeah,
estilo.
there she is. Yeah,
So with that being said, like they're different backgrounds, so you expect, oh, okay, you put polar opposites together, they can make some chemistry happen, right? A
yeah.
lot of times, maybe yes, right? But in this situation, you know, I think the way they kind of get a bond is Melissa McCarthy's younger character self kind of saves Octavia Spencer's character, who's Emily.
Emily. Yeah, there. I
Melissa
couldn't think of her
McCarthy is
name.
Lydia. Yeah. So Lydia and Emily. So Emily's getting bullied. Young Emily's getting bullied. So Lydia comes to the rescue and beats up this one boy with like a weapon or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, it's a coming of age tale of, you know, two
Yeah,
best friends, right? So
yeah.
something happens. So some backstory with Emily is her parents are also bookworms. They're scientists. They're like genetic scientists that
Hmm.
mess with, you know, gene mutation and all that cool stuff, biology, and they're on a mission to get some kind of defense for what's happened so far in 1980s. There was a like what was it? Hold on, intergalactic cosmic ray, you know,
Yeah,
splash
it was
onto the
something
world.
silly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It sounds so made up. It sounds like my nephew or like my son made the story up. And so some
but
cosmic ray. What's up?
yeah. Well, no, no, yeah, the cosmic rays. But I like what they did, where it only affected people who were like sociopaths, like bad people, kind of thing. I was like, that's. I honestly I don't think I can remember anything like that like done before. Where like, oh, here's this thing, but it only affects like psychopath, crazy, bad people. And I'm
Yeah,
like, what? That was like, that's a interesting, very simple, but very
yeah,
interesting kind of thing. You know, like you said, it's very easy. Like, oh, it's cosmic rays, it's Fantastic Four. I mean, there's just a million freaking things that do cosmic rays, but this only affected like people with like I forgot what they said, but like they're
psychoactive.
something in
What is it? I wrote it down.
yeah,
Probably.
like it was like their brain was wired to be bad people.
Right, yeah, people that are like mentally ill or they have troubled backgrounds or things like that. People
Yeah, I was
that
like,
are
that's
psychologically kind of fucked. They
yeah,
hit those people. So which
yeah,
is I guess prone to make villains, I guess, in this world. In this
yeah.
like if you could place this movie by the way in DC universe or Marvel universe, where would you place this film if you had
I
to
don't
choose a
know.
side?
just the backstory would sound more like DC, but it's really hard because it's kind of, it takes a little bit of both worlds. I feel like, at least the cinematic universes, it takes
Okay,
some of the gritty, like real life stuff that DC does. Like, if bad people got powers, this is what they would do, you know. But it takes
right.
like some of the lightheartedness and goofiness that like you see in like Guardians, and you saw in like Thor Ragnarok, and it
Yes,
takes some of that like too, and it really blends it together eh, in an okay fashion, you know. Like, I think
right.
it was just it. I don't know, you know, but it's a really a weird combo of the two, you know. So
For
it
sure.
was that I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, the cosmic rays was pretty awesome. Um,
It was something different. So yeah, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. Nothing has really touched on that kind of aspect of like getting hit with, cosmic, galactic rays or whatever. Okay, things that affect, but they didn't play on that idea too much. I wish they would have like kind of piggyback
yeah,
off of that. That would have
yeah,
made it more believable if, let's say, the thing to stop this phenomena is, mutating your genes of people who are, I don't know. What are the opposite of these people? Like people that are goody two shoes people or can only get
yeah.
these
Like
powers.
well, yeah. Well, it's the whole like Red Skull and Captain America, like in the first Avenger movie. You
Yeah,
know, they both took a super soldier serum, but one like is so evil that his face melted off, and the other one is the goodest goody guy ever to exist, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
true.
So it's kind of like something like that. You know,
I can see that.
but you know, but yeah. You want to keep going? So yeah, so the cosmic
Yeah,
rays affected Earth.
right. And that was in the '80s, right? So
Yeah, it
while
was
they're growing up, you know, that's a constant threat. These people that are called
uh
miscreants,
yeah, the
like
miscreants,
that. I think it's
miscreants. Yeah.
miscreants, and they're like mutants. They're just mutants with cool powers that got hit, and but they're getting hired by this greater evil that we'll get to in a second, who's called the King. He doesn't have that cool of a name, the King. God, it's just like I said, so underwhelming. I can't, man. I can't.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So they're a constant villain that's in the '80s, right? So when Lydia and Emily are growing up, um Emily is kind of more of on a mission to continue her parents' work because early on in her life, her parents get murdered by some
By
miscreants. So,
hmm
so she has some vengeance, on her back. She wants to like continue what her parents were doing and find a way to, I guess, mutate her own genes, which was like her plan. And she wants to get powers that are better and defeat these miscreants, these mutated people, right?
yeah.
So that's what she wants to do. And then, the fuck up, Lydia, who's played by Melissa
Melissa
McCarthy,
McCarthy.
she's just a fuck up and she keeps fucking up shit and she fucked up some of Emily's work and Emily gets pissed. So they kind of butt heads. And so they have a falling out. And that was like, oh
Yeah.
shit. They had a falling out. And so they kind of, after that, kind of zoomed past a bunch of years, right? I guess you want to say current
Yeah. It
day.
went from like what, like high school to like, yeah, to like
They're
current day. So
also
it was like
actually
what, it was like
the
20 years, I
90s.
think they said, something like that, right?
It was a reunion. It was definitely a reunion. I don't know if it was a 10-year or it might have been a 25-year. I think it makes
Yeah.
more sense if it's 25-year. But anyways, years later, they have a reunion party coming up, and the only one that's really worried about it is Melissa McCarthy's character Lydia, because she has nothing else going on in her life. If you notice what she's
hmm
wearing, and like she talks about later in the movie that she got her clothes from the dump or from the trash,
Yeah.
I was like,
She's like, I
okay,
literally got from the
you,
trash.
you didn't have to add that into the whatever, to the
Uh,
dialogue, but she did, and she's like, again, she's your typical fuck up, right? Luckily she's not on drugs or anything. She's a pretty like decent person, but she's just lackluster. She's just she's terrible. And
yeah. Yeah.
with that being said, she has a reunion coming up, and she's like, "Hey, you know what? It'd be more exciting if I can, reunite with Emily." Who at this point Emily has just leveled up from when she was little. She's like
On the
it's already
news.
she's on the news. She has her own big
Um,
company called fuck, I forgot the company's name. Um
Probably
Forgot
like
the
a
company.
P. Yeah.
She has her own company that's like all about what her parents were trying to accomplish. The whole gene splicing, gene mutating, crazy scientific stuff, right? That I'm sure she's getting paid hella money. But she's, like I said, on a mission to, I guess, get revenge for her parents and just, I guess, overall be a hero. Like she's never really been she's kind of always been the underdog. Early on in
Hmm.
the film, she was kind of getting bullied, so she wants to kind of like stick up for the little guy, and she wants to get muscles, and she wants to not get muscles, but she wants to get super
She wants to
strength,
be like strong. Yeah, just strong.
and and do what she thinks is right, morally right. So what happens? Emily goes to visit her. Surprisingly, her assistant downstairs led her upstairs to where Emily was. I guess she had her family there. Her son works for her. Was that her son? I don't even know.
I don't know if they said it was her son. I know that was that was the daughter. I don't know if that was the son.
Oh, you're right.
I
You're
don't
right.
think
Yeah.
so.
So she had some guy working for him, her assistant. He was up
Yeah.
there, and he was just kind of doing his thing. Her daughter, again, kind of like Octavia Spencer, is not really socially accepted, and she's super super smart into being
Hmm.
in her books. So yeah, so Emily goes to visit her, and then she spills beer on Lydia. So then Lydia's like, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Lydia spills beer on Emily. Emily is like, okay, I'll be right back. Don't touch anything. And little do we find out that she has like her secret lab with all the work she's been doing. It's public or not public, but it's accessible to anyone. So Emily goes in and she fucks shit up, and she accidentally injects herself with a mutated serum.
Like the serum. Yeah, which was a stupid thing. Like she went to go sit down, so it really wasn't I won't say like her fault. Like she wasn't
Yeah.
touching too much stuff, but she went to go sit down on the massage chair, which it did look like a massage chair,
It
you know. And then it like locked her into place. So I was like, I'm like, listen, if you got a chair where if anybody sits down, it just automatically injects you, I was like, you need to change your chair.
Okay, by the way, this chair, right, that you bring up, I'm glad you brought this up. I was looking at the scene, and I think I rewinded it. Were her arms free to like block the
No,
injection?
it like
Oh,
it
it did. Oh, it
grabbed
did
her
cuff her
arms.
up.
Yeah, it
Oh,
grabbed her
okay.
head and her arms.
That was
Yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah.
A lot of the stuff in the movie. So the one thing I like in films is the factor that they can make you believe that these things are actually happening. This had no credibility to do any of that. The whole time I knew I was watching a film, and I
Yeah.
was just so, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it, I was so underwhelmed by everything that was going on. Even like the overall, like I think they might have had ad libs in the movie, but the ad libs or
Mhm.
everything that was written was just overall, in my opinion, trash, 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 trash. And I might get some hate for this. That's okay. I'm prepared for that. If you wanna hit me up and send me hate mail, you can find my name Peppa MD. Send it all you
Come
want.
at me.
For real.
Um, shit. Yeah, I don't know if it was trash like that, but also I went in with very low expectations, like
Yeah,
very low expectations. Um,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I don't know. It was just for what it was. I was enjoying it because it was also making fun of itself a lot too. Like up to that point, it was kind
Oh,
of like playing a lot of the stupid tropes, like you said, like the perfect
right.
stranger kind of whole setup, like opposite kind of people, which was kind of cool. But like one thing in the beginning, before I forget, because I didn't want to cut you off, but at the beginning when they show them younger, and she was sticking up for Emily, which is the smart smarty one, and and she was like they were like talking shit to the little boy that was picking on Emily. I thought that
Oh
was really
yeah.
funny. And then when she like
Green.
beat the shit out of him in the like the playground, and she told him like, "Now get in the garbage can." I was like, "What?" She goes, "Because you're trash." I was like, that made me laugh. That was a spot where I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny.
That was
That was kind
funny.
of funny.
So I
But
will say I did have the most like I guess most laughs. I really didn't laugh throughout this film, but the most laughs that I did have were when Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer were not on film. Times when Jason Bateman was kind of going off.
yes.
or even the king. Like I didn't like the king too much, but even he had like some funnier lines when he kind of stretched out jokes a little bit too much.
Yeah, he
Um,
was
eh,
definitely like a over the top kind of silly
um,
person.
what'd you think of their like childhood friend? He didn't even make that much of an appearance. I wish he made more of an appearance. Clyde.
Two, yeah, yeah, the two appearances, and then that was it. And I was like, what? Like, I
They,
thought like he was gonna be a love interest or something,
yeah,
and it was literally like nothing. Like it started off with their showing them in high school. He didn't know how to make jokes,
right,
and then later he still didn't know how to make jokes. But then that was it. Like then like you never saw him again. Like after that,
right.
I was like, wait, what? I was like, I'm sure it's a minor character, but also like that's something that you could have used at the end as a like, as a good callback. Would have
Right.
been really good. Something that could have really been used as a really good comedy point, but maybe they were just kind of like they didn't think it fit.
All the good
But
films, or the great films, I should say, always tend to like tie loose ends. They didn't tie that loose end with Clyde,
yeah,
and
no,
and I don't want to see a part two of this film. but
Not
but if they
me
were
neither,
to,
but
they need to include more Clyde. His jokes were really cringe.
yeah,
Again,
yeah, oh yeah.
this whole film was very cringe worthy. But even with him, his whole joke of "oh, knock knock, an owl, what, who?" and he's just like he fucks up the punchline like
Which
so
that
many
was
times.
funny. Yeah, that was really that was funny.
That was
That was fun.
organically funny, you know. Like I know they went off script or off on a tangent and kind of went with this guy, but that was at least a good intro to like. I was expecting he was gonna have like a role in the end where he like injects himself with serum, and we were gonna see him
Or
maybe
like maybe
join the force.
a new team member, or maybe
Right.
become a bad guy and like he's a the hidden like henchman or something like that. You know what I mean? Because that was one thing they did really well was with the bad guys, like you said, like the king kept
Yeah.
doing these like weird tangents and like there's a part where he gets mad and he has like the little bad guy hissy fit where he's like a 5-year-old and starts throwing shit. And then they wind up killing like 4 henchmen. He's like, which was funny. And then Jason Bateman's like, "Oh, you killed Dave. Dave was one of the good ones." He's like, "Oh." He goes, "Who are you? I don't like you." He goes, "My name's Andrew, but you call me Andy." And then, like that was funny because
It was.
it's so stupid. Like it doesn't belong in the movie,
No.
but it just like made the bad guys seem even more stupid because the whole premise of them getting powers in the first place was
Yeah.
stupid. So it just like continued the stupidity of it all.
Right.
It was
That was
then I
something that
thought,
worked for
yeah,
sure.
and then a callback. Andrew was like the only one alive, even though he wanted him dead. Like most of the time, he kept telling Laser, who was I can't think of her name. What was her name? The girl who played Mantis. It was Pom.
Pom Klementieff, or I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce her name.
Pom.
Pom.
Yeah.
Call
But yeah, Pom was like Laser, which was she was super cool because it was very over the top, silly.
Yeah.
Um, but she kept killing everybody, which was just again so stupid. Um, yeah, I don't know.
I
Like
guess it was to send a message, but he was sending it to no one. He was just killing his own guys for
he's
no
killing
reason.
his own guy. Yeah, which is like because it's like this plays on like the stupid bad guy trope kind of thing, like overly violent for no reason besides being violent kind of thing. It was
Right.
just I found like humor in that. I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
funny because it was just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think like anything else up to that point where you ended.
No, not really.
It was kind of
Not really.
funny.
That had an impact, at least for me to remember. Like all I kept, I wrote down, fuck Wayne, who was the kid bully in the beginning.
Yeah, Wayne. There
Um,
you go.
very cringe moments when like they both start their treatments. They get in the car and start
Mm.
having some pump up music, and they were like, "Yeah, let's get hyped." And it's just like, what the fuck?
I forgot who it was. It was like a non-hype kind of singer. It was like a
Yeah,
old classic song. That was
I
funny.
forgot. I should have wrote down the song, but yeah, exactly. And then I think that's about it. They up to that point, um, yeah, she injects herself with. So it's supposed to be a 2-part serum injection, is what Emily was gonna take. one of the injections was supposed to give super strength,
Mm,
and the other one was invisibility
yeah,
and some kind of like force field kind of thing going on too. Kind of like what's her name from
Invisible
Fantastic Four?
Woman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
her
They
whole.
never really did too much about that though. I kept waiting for her to like do a big bubble kind of thing, and then never panned out, and I was kind of upset. I was like, "Oh, really? Come on."
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I was disappointed, but
Yeah.
um, that was it. They finally get their powers. They face the bad guy. Like I don't even want to dig into details too much at this point. Like, but they get the king, and they're kind of getting defeated, and they're always on the talks with Emily's daughter, who's also the kind of a bookworm, and so
Hmm.
she's like, oh man, my mom's in trouble, or yeah, my mom's in trouble, let me hop in and join you guys. So she ends up, I think, does she take a serum as well?
Yeah, I don't think they show it, but she
She didn't show it.
does
Oh yeah, okay, so I thought it was
because she does get
crazy.
powers.
She gets powers out of nowhere. Again, there's no
Yeah.
explanation. A lot of his the stuff is
No.
just
Yeah.
arbitrary. Like, oh yeah, this happened. You just
She's
go with
got
the flow.
yeah, she's got like a white suit, and I think it was super speed, wasn't it?
Super speed,
It was
definitely.
a speed. Yeah.
And so she comes kind of save the day and defeats the bad guys. I felt really bad for Jason Bateman, by the way. Claw hands.
Again, so stupid.
I swear they got like random like powers or random things and they put it in a hat and they said, "Oh
Uh,
yeah, let's give Jason Bateman claw hands." Like,
his backstory though of how he got that, because he didn't get
oh
that from the
yeah,
rays.
he didn't.
He got, he
I wrote
got
this
it
down.
from the stupidest thing.
Oh, the radioactive coral reef with his wife,
Yeah,
right?
like crab, like, and it bit him in the ball sack.
Yeah,
And then for some reason he got crab like arms, like, and it's not even the whole arm. I think it's just from like the elbow down,
yeah, pretty
right?
much.
Which is stupid.
And he couldn't do shit with it. It wasn't like super strengthy claws. It was just
No,
some regular ass claws.
yeah,
It seemed like
but
it.
he had like this attitude, this ego, like he was like a badass villain, which really I think that really fit Jason Bateman kind of like style that he always does.
Right.
That was pretty funny. But well, him and
Melissa.
Lydia with Melissa McCarthy, they
Mhm.
wind up having a weird love thing going on. And the
Yeah.
first time they met at the liquor store, and they like that was the first time they like did anything as superheroes.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I thought, I'm like, oh, maybe that's also one of his powers is mind control. So maybe he made her like do it, but it wasn't. It was just like they just had a thing for each other, which was
It was
stupid. Because they
weird.
cut to like a weird scene where they start dancing, and
Yeah.
she's like dressed up, but like kind of
Oh
like
god, like
mixed up
the
between like an
musical scene.
80s. Yeah, because she had like it was like 80s, 70s rock, which
Yeah.
she had the big hair and the stupid dress, and he was dressed up. I was like, that was so silly. But it again it fit the movie, I thought.
It
But
did. Would you consider this movie a parody superhero film, or would you
oh yeah,
or do you take
no,
it serious for
no,
being superhero? It's a parody, right?
it's definitely
Kept
a parody.
debating with myself, like, what do I get out of this film? Do I get that they're making fun of themselves for being a mediocre superhero film, like Kick Ass, kind of like Kick Ass, even though Kick Ass
Mhm.
was a pretty good, decent film for what it
Yeah,
was,
Kick-Ass was super badass.
right?
But Kick-Ass
Um,
was a comic book though too,
it
so
was a comic book. It was, yeah.
they kind of still falls in line with everything else. Where this was just they just did it. I mean, I guess it's not a parody like how like oh what's the scary movie, scary movie,
Yeah, yeah.
scary movie did with all the scary movies at the time, Scream and all that. Like that's an obvious parody. This one is more of a subtle kind of parody.
Okay.
um but yeah, what's up Oli? Hey guys.
How you doing?
um but yeah, so this was it was definitely a parody because it played a lot of the tropes. I mean, it even played a Batman like theme song with the seal, "Kiss from a Rose,"
Oh
and
yeah.
like she integrated it in their suits so it can get them like
Oh
relaxed
my god. Yeah.
and they start singing it. It was like I'm like, come on, it was just because you own like
Yeah.
that was a song made for the Batman movie.
It
Like I
was.
believe it was Batman
Yes.
and Robin. I believe Batman Forever.
With
I
Michael
think
Keaton, right?
Batman for. No, that was George Clooney. No, not George. That was Val Kilmer, I believe.
Was it? Oh,
I think
okay,
that was.
truck.
I think that it was. I think it was. It wasn't. It was either Clooney
Ollie would
or
know.
Val Kilmer. I think it was Val Kilmer. The Kiss from a Rose.
Ollie would know. She fucking knows her 80s, 90s
Oh, that.
movies. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, right. They kept singing that song. How did
which
they
was
clear
funny.
that song? That was
Yeah.
reserved for only Batman.
Yeah. Well, I don't know with everyone owning anything about it. You can always get rights stuff. Here's a couple grand, and then they take it. Also, I mean that song is only known for that movie. Like like a superhero movie. So
Yep.
it really fit. But yeah, it was I think it was a parody.
So Jason Bateman, right? His role was I guess the most important in this film, just for the
Yeah.
fact that he was playing kind of double agent with his love interest with Lydia.
Hmm.
He kind of told some information that was beneficial to Emily and them. So,
Yeah. That was another great scene. They go on a date,
mhm,
and I'm like, either he's trying to get information from her, or she's trying to get information from him. Which it was, but it was also like an actual date.
it was.
And then I thought that was so
Oh,
fun with the whole seafood thing.
they were
You know,
the waiter. He tries
the
to
waiter.
offer seafood as like the special. Yeah, we have a nice, oh my
Uh,
god. When he said that, that was pretty funny. He's like, "Oh
yeah,
yeah, you're gonna offer seafood to a guy with crab hands? Huh? You think we're
yeah,
cannibals?" That was
yeah.
that was
But
silly.
that, yeah, but that was funny too. It was like because he also said like how much he liked seafood and crab before he got the crab hands. I was like, I just thought that was like it was just so goofy. I was like, he's
Was
like, oh, but I really did like seafood before. So he's like, I forgot. He said to put him like in a weird like dilemma.
right.
But yeah. Jason Bateman was yeah a pretty important character because he's the one that obviously like kind of turns the movie at the end. But yeah,
I was hoping that he would be able to because he got his claws ripped off at some point. The king or someone ripped off his
yeah,
claws.
it was the king.
Maybe you caught it and I didn't. Were his claws regrowing, or did he
Yeah,
stick like a replacement? What was that?
I assumed they were. Hey, stop. I assumed they were regrowing because I think they regrow their limbs. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. It
I
was
mean,
just
I'm not.
odd thing to see because like
Yeah,
later in the film, I forgot what he was doing, but they
he
show
was
his
they were
hands.
feeding each other.
Oh, they were feeding each other, and it shows. It kind of gave me like vibes from Deadpool when he cut off his
Yeah,
hand,
yeah.
and they showed the baby hand. Like it was the baby claw. Like I'm like, what the?
Hmm. Again, like another parody kind of thing. But yeah, that I thought that was pretty funny because because for whatever reason,
Mhm.
like since he's a crab, he likes raw meat. But for her with her
Oh,
powers, like she
yeah.
loves raw chicken, and I guess it's good for her because of her which I thought was stupid because she was like cramming it down her throat and it was like all juicing out. And it was
Oh
like actually really
god.
nasty. And Olivia Spence, like Emily, was just was like all gagging. She's like, "Oh no, I can't watch this." It was kind of that
Can
was
we just
kind of
talk
fun.
about, by the way, the kind of justice? I feel like African Americans are always getting the shit end of the stick when it comes to being in movies. So, for
Mhm.
example, let me bring this up. In the film, when Emily and Lydia are doing their treatments, right, to kind of ignite their powers, they have
Yeah,
two very different experiences.
yeah, yeah,
So, for once, the African American person, had the easier take on doing something that she didn't want to do, right? So, to get her powers, all um all Emily had to do was just take pills.
yeah.
Pills. Just pills. That's it. And Melissa McCarthy's character Lydia had to like endure all this crazy shit, right? Like what did she have to do again?
Those injections. Oh, there's she had the injections in her
In the
face.
face, which gave
But
her
then
boils.
there was a part where it injects her boobs.
Huh?
The injections injects her boobs, and she's like,
Oh,
ah. She goes, why in the boobs? And then she's like, oh, we need to do a few of them, in the pectoral muscle. So like, she just grabs her boobs and is like, what the hell?
and there was no explanation. That's all
Yeah,
she said. Just because we
yeah.
need
She's
to.
like, yeah, is you need to.
That was pretty funny, man. Some
Yeah,
racial
but she
justice.
gets all like the boils in her face,
It was
which was
disgusting.
kind of funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
bring a quick picture of it up. Which was it was pretty funny though. But like you said, it was like she had these needles.
Right? Super high tech. Looks like something
Yeah,
from
like
Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock and shit.
yeah. And so she had to do what 33 treatments of
Yeah,
that, like every day, like for what, over a month. This like injections, and a few of them are in her boobs. So
right. And they were always randomized too. They were like you never had the same day. I think twice. I think they mentioned something like that. But either way, it was just a
oh my
lot of
god,
extra shit she went through just to get some cool powers.
yeah, yeah, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, they make Octavia Spencer Emily. She's smart,
Hmm.
rich, like she's not like how you said, like a lot of times, the African American woman, or especially the woman, gets like a crap deal,
They
but
do.
like here she's the smart one. She's like, the Tony Stark of it all. She's like the Batman, kind of thing. Her daughter's, super smart as well,
Right.
so
She did well for herself, definitely.
yeah, yeah,
I wish she would have expressed herself more as like an alpha. I know her role is to be the underdog, moving up. I get that thing, but then when she does, build her little empire, I feel like she should have had more of a what's the word I'm thinking of?
more like a Bruce Wayne kind of thing, like more of an ego,
More of an
like
ego, yeah. More of a
yeah.
like it's more a pronounced, persona where she's like, yeah, like I got my shit together. What the fuck are you
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
Lydia?
Well, because yeah, every superhero that's rich, mostly either Batman or Tony Stark, they have that ego, like or Bruce Wayne, like he's that rich guy. Tony Stark's the rich guy and kind of thing. Here, she didn't really, like you said, yeah, she never really had that. She was
She
just
was more
kind of
humble more than anything.
yeah,
Like when she noticed that her daughter was having kind of a disconnect with her, she noticed and she was like, "Oh, I'm heartbroken by that. Is there something that I can do to make you feel better?" Or she kind of tried to have a
yeah,
heart to heart talk later in the film with her daughter, and she's like, "Yeah, I wish you would be more like this because." Lydia's character is so outgoing, and she just says whatever, blah blah blah. So I guess she likes that more loosey goosey kind of
yeah,
parenting, other than Emily's strict ass like things she has going on.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. But let's see. Well, where do we leave off at the story? Well, one thing
The,
we didn't say is the king. He's running for mayor against another candidate,
yeah,
and so you find out he's the main bad guy. Obviously, well, especially a name as the king. Or I think they were trying to play kingpin kind of vibes kind of thing,
I can see that.
or like Lex Luthor, even, like, oh, he's the bad guy, but he's also in politics for some reason, you know.
Yeah,
So so there's that, yeah. So he was telling the people like he's the only one that can stop the bad guys when
the
in fact he's
miscreant.
the one, yeah, the miscreants, when in fact he's the head of them all, so yeah,
Mhm.
obviously you can stop him because you just tell him to stop. So
Right.
that was
That was
the
his
big
way.
thing with him, was he was going to work his way up to being president, which
Mm,
also comes from Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor in the comics, becomes president.
trying to
So
have world domination,
yeah,
working your
yeah,
way up. I
yeah.
saw that.
So
Okay.
yeah. So that was his big thing, is why he wanted them to stop, because if somebody else besides him can stop the bad guys, then he's not relevant in
He won't
politics.
get votes. He won't get the votes
Yeah,
he needs.
yeah,
He's trying to
yeah,
get those votes that make him seem like the hero.
yeah, yeah,
Who's
exactly.
that was
So
a good
that's the
take on the
main reason.
story.
Yeah, yeah. Again, everything was very, very, very simple. All the concepts, nothing was too in depth.
Right.
Um, but I didn't mind that, because again, it was just a simple kind of movie.
Mm, right.
But so yeah, so I don't know, where did we leave off? So Jason
Um.
Bateman met they had their dinner date,
Mhm. They swapped
and then
information,
yeah,
and then when they got back to their respective,
oh, and then they had
apartments.
sex, which was weird.
Oh, did I miss
They,
that? They had
they had
sex?
sex.
Oh god.
He rips off her like cowboy button down that she was wearing, and
Yeah.
she was sprinkling She was freaking
Seasoning.
seasoning.
Now, oh, what the fuck?
And
And he
it
was
was
cool
so
with it,
stupid.
right?
Yeah, he was like,
They're
"Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah."
what
It
the
was like
fuck
a
is
turn
that?
on. It was so stupid. It was so stupid. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I forgot. Why did I forget about that one?
yeah. Because she came back and told Emily about it, and he's like, "Oh, he's really good." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Look at it, dude. I think around that time I got distracted by something, so I did miss a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did rewind it and then rewatch it. It didn't make sense, but now I'm okay. Yeah, they were having sex and she was
Hmm.
seasoning on him. I did see that, man.
That was so
Very,
stupid.
very weird thing to see on screen.
Yeah.
But hopefully, if this film does well, I hope they bring back Jason Bateman. I'm not big on the King. They could like leave his ass in the past. Is he
Yeah.
dead? He's dead? Did he
I
die?
don't know. They didn't show.
They didn't show
Um.
a resolution for him,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
He
yeah.
was
I
defeated.
mean, they defeated him,
Yeah.
but then yeah, you don't see him either come back or die, kind of thing. So you
Hmm.
always just have to assume they're alive.
Let's see who
Um.
else. Anybody else important in this film? Um, the director was in here. He had a small role. He was one of the bad guys, right?
Yeah, which is Melissa McCarthy. He's the one that gets shocked in with the taser in the
Oh yeah,
trailer.
can we talk about
Yeah.
that? When isn't that like a fucking crime? She almost like
Yeah.
or she made that guy a vegetable. She tased him too much to the point where didn't
Well,
he
he
turn into
didn't
a
die.
vegetable? He
No,
didn't
because
die. He didn't die.
no, he got up and left,
He
and
did?
then later, yeah, later when they were telling, and he comes in and gives the king something, like when the king's having his
Oh.
little meeting, and he's all burnt on the side and all messed up, and he's like, and
Oh.
he goes, do something about that. Go put some lotion. Go just put a lot of lotion on.
He
you
ends
know,
up putting makeup, foundation, and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And they
uh-huh,
comment on it later, and they're like, "Man, this ain't
yeah,
good, dude."
yeah, yeah. I think he winds up dying from laser. I think she winds up zapping him and killing him when he went on his weird killing rant of his own guys.
I don't know. That
But
kind of
yeah,
reminded me of Austin Powers in a sense.
mm,
Doctor Evil would like just be bogus as fuck to his henchmen,
yeah.
like that.
Drop them in the what with the sharks or whatever he did.
Yup.
Yeah, yeah,
Fucking.
that is kind of true. But yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. Like at the end, they have their big battle. Well, he winds up losing the election, right?
Mm,
Because Thunder Force backs up the girl, backs up the other candidate, which I forgot
yes.
what her name was. Um,
Yeah.
her character,
I think it was no, not Allie, right? I don't think so. It was Allie.
something. Was it Gutierrez? Was there? I forgot.
It's okay.
Um,
It's okay.
but yeah, but so he winds up losing the mayor election to her,
Mm,
and then he's gonna throw a party for her in and he's gonna invite everyone who didn't vote for him and then blow them all up because that's
yeah.
gonna like it was just like one of those stupid cliche bad guy things that's just it's so stupid.
Everything
But yeah,
cliche and corny was thrown into this film, but it
yeah,
was almost given like a pass because they knew they were making fun of themselves.
yeah, yeah. It now that I think about it, it really reminds me of like the old Batman um Adam West kind of style. Like
Oh,
very
okay.
stupid, where the bad guys are very silly, even the good guys are kind of like goofy. It had a lot of those kind of vibes,
I can
like
see that.
not taking itself too serious. Because there's the one part when he goes and breaks into their like base, and he
Mhm.
tries to tell them, and Laser's like walking around them, and like
Yeah.
he has that dramatic pause, and he's about to say "kill you both," and she says it before him, and then he gets mad. You know, and the whole time Melissa McCarthy's like, "You guys need to, figure out your your thing."
Your whole
And then
scheme, yeah.
as they're leaving, like the hole they made in the wall, like
Mhm.
one goes one way, one goes the other way, and then he comes back and he's like, "Oh, dude, go that
That way.
way."
Which
So it's just like very this goofy, and I don't know. Like for
but
me, I'm like, I enjoyed that, just the goofiness of it all.
okay. Maybe I didn't accept it for what it was. I was really on the fence just because I don't know. When I think of Melissa McCarthy, she's not necessarily from Chicago, Chicago. I think she's from like a suburb in Chicago. And every time
Yeah.
I see people that, and maybe just I'm just a hater. Maybe I'm a hater. Who knows? But every time I see people that are like from an outskirt suburb of Chicago, but they'll claim Chicago hardcore, they lose my respect a little bit.
She's Plainfield.
Plainfield, that's
Plainfield.
fine. I like Plainfield, but but like her or like D Wade, isn't D Wade from like Evanston or something like that?
I
I'm thinking of somebody else.
I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, but I also I don't mind that as much because if you tell somebody, "Oh, I'm from Plainfield, Illinois," and they're
They
like,
don't
"Where the
know.
fuck is that?" They're
Right.
like, "Oh, it's right outside Chicago." I was like, "Oh, okay," you know.
Outside
So it's like,
Chicago. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think it depends who you're talking to. If you're talking to somebody from Illinois and you say you're from Chicago, they're like, "No, no, 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 you're not from Chicago." We know who's from Chicago and who's not from Chicago, you
True.
know, and like stuff like that. You know, like same thing with Fall Out Boy. They're not from Chicago. They grew up in a burb, you know.
Mm, okay.
So,
She's
yeah,
on
but
that
they
one
claim
TV
Chicago.
show, is she not? Isn't she on that one TV show with that guy from King of Queens? It's called, I think, Mike and Molly. It's on
Yeah,
You.
yeah. Well,
Also
it's a
based in Chicago.
yeah. He's not. Well, he's not the guy from King of Queens, was he? Oh, it might be.
He wasn't. He wasn't the
He was
lead
he
guy.
was the side character. That's right. I
He was a
think
side
so.
character.
Right.
Hmm.
He was like the cop. Yeah, he was the cop in that show. Something along
Or
those
if he
lines,
wasn't King
wasn't
of
he?
Queens, it was. No,
I
yeah,
could
I
be
think it
wrong.
was King of Queens.
Probably. Yeah. But yeah,
Who
yeah, the Mike and
else
Molly,
now?
which was a big show. I mean, that what really made her who she is now. You know,
Hmm.
so and then she got a few good movies that were kind of funny, and then she just rode that wave
Mm,
of it all. But yeah, yeah, I will. Bridesmaids was like the big one
okay.
that got that really like the movie that really got her kind of going because she was kind of same character, kind of goofy. I remember somebody saying she's the Chris Farley of like women and like of like kind of today, so she does a lot of the falls over, lands really hard, loud, obnoxious, I don't say fat because she's not really like fat where Chris
She's
Farley was
not.
kind of a big guy, but like I mean she's not like a skinny, she's not like Scarlett Johansson, in a leather
Right.
suit, their leather suits, fit them, but they were normal. I would say more normal instead of like supermodel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just that. I don't know.
It was interesting. I was expecting a superhero movie. I know they're kind of more playing the parody of it. I was kind
Mhm.
of hoping to see like a swole looking Melissa McCarthy or like a swole looking Octavia Spencer. I was thinking about something like that, and then you see the storyline. You're like, okay, no, 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 scrap that. They don't gotta work that hard. Let the comedy speak for itself. But I was kind of
Yeah,
hoping for something like that. With
she lost a lot of weight, like Melissa McCarthy.
she did. She has lost. She's
She
come
lost
a long way,
a
right?
lot of weight. Yeah, she lost a lot of weight. I mean, I'm sure they wear their like Spanx and everything underneath all those suits. Everyone does, but
Right, right, right,
but
right.
yeah, no, she lost a lot of weight, which is good for her. But I mean, she's definitely, yeah. But I mean, for her, she's that Chris Farley kind of style, falling over stuff, landing really hard, loud in your face, kind of thing. But
Peanut
she was
butter and jelly.
exactly like this. Yeah, I mean, like she was training and she like jumped on like a box jump
Yeah.
and she tripped and like fell and flipped over. I'm like, that's Chris Farley falling on the table, like,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
she has those vibes, kind of thing, which is not a bad thing, because Chris Farley didn't invent that kind of,
No, but I can respect
comedy
it.
style either. But yeah,
I can respect the
yeah,
comedy. It's something different. It's not like I said. It's not for everyone, but it's something that can please a few audiences.
yeah.
If you do like Chris Farley, I do miss Chris Farley, man.
Oh
He
yeah, dude, he
he
was
was one
amazing.
that did like hella drugs, right? Didn't he do hella drugs?
Yeah, that's how he
Just
died,
like a
man.
big party goer, always
Yeah,
drinking. Man, I'm glad she's not on that path. But man,
yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I know, like a little off topic. Chris Farley was the original voice of Shrek.
I heard him doing
Did
the
you see it?
lines.
Yeah, there's
I
video,
saw.
or not video, but like audio video of it.
I really
You
hope
know,
that wasn't like his best work though. Like I don't know. Like I could see him being Shrek, but I really think Michael Myers or Mike Myers.
Mike
I think
Myers.
you're right. Mike Myers.
Yeah,
Michael
Mike
Myers.
Myers.
Mike Myers. I think he really nails Shrek. Like I think
With
maybe.
the accent and stuff like that.
hmm
But yeah,
But Chris Farley, he could have done well if he would have stuck with
yeah.
health.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, he was super super funny. I mean, if you ever get a chance to watch like the SNL Best of Chris
Oh
Farley,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
hilarious.
awesome, like super awesome. But well, I know we're going off on a,
It's
on a
okay.
tangent.
It's okay.
But I mean, she is, which I think it's harder
Mhm.
being a woman to be that kind of that style of comedy where you're loud and in your face and very physical. You know,
Okay.
um,
Mm.
because it can easily be like looked at as like something different. Because like like that's not what a woman's supposed to do, kind of thing. But she does it. She pulls it off. Like whenever I know she's in a movie, I'm like most of the time I'm like that's who she's gonna be.
Yeah,
Very rarely I think she's played a serious role where she's not that. And she's a not a bad actress, but you always assume same thing the way Chris Farley. You always assume exactly what that character was gonna be. Loud, falling over into shit and stuff like that. So
right.
that's why I didn't expect anything too crazy with this movie. Like I
I
was
could
I was really
yeah.
yeah, I was really hoping something else would have been out for us to watch it.
Oh
But I
yeah,
think this was definitely the big one that was kind of like on everyone's radar, you know. But
for sure.
but yeah. So we're coming up to an hour. Oh well, they finish it. They beat him, and
Happily ever
she
after, pretty much.
she sacrifices herself because there's a bomb. So she's like, "I'm gonna take the
Oh
bomb." And I'll do it,
yeah.
because the daughter and the mom, she's like, I'll, but obviously she doesn't die. She jumps out the building, lands in the lake, kind of thing, which is like it was a really cool scene. Like
It
the
was.
merchandise, I believe it was the merchandise mart, and then jumps in the Chicago River.
hmm
Big explosion. Which also when I was thinking, I'm like, she has super strength. Shouldn't she just have like chucked it in the air like super high or just chucked it into the
She
water? I'm
could
like,
have.
you didn't have to go down there with it. you know but
Yeah, she
I
had
mean
options. She definitely had
yeah,
options. She could. You know what? She could have chucked it in the air if she could throw a school bus
I
like
know.
nothing.
Yeah,
But the little what was it, a briefcase or some bullshit?
yeah,
It
yeah.
was a
Just
briefcase.
you're by a window, just chuck it. But again, it's playing on the tropes that the bad guy or the good guys have to sacrifice himself to save the day, kind of thing.
Right.
So you know but
Funny.
yeah, but she obviously she survived, and they went and winning. Oh, the one thing is like there's her security guard lady. I forgot what her name was. She winds up betraying him, which I didn't. I kind of saw that coming, but I wasn't too kind of sure because she was
Security
kind of
guard.
what was her name?
Oh, from the beginning? You talking about the?
Yeah,
How does she?
she
Oh shit.
yeah she sets her up. They're going to stop the main bad guy,
hmm
and for some reason like Laser knew they were there, and then that's when they were singing the whole "Kiss by the Rose," and then Laser comes in and beats them up.
Yeah.
Um, it was her security Allie, I think her name was. Was it Allie?
Oh, okay.
I think so. She's the one that kind of like betrayed her, like tipped them off and stuff like that. Which
Oh.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of messed up. That
Oh,
sucks.
her. Oh, the older chick. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. The one in
Okay.
all the suit the whole time with the black hair.
Mm.
I think it was Allie. But yeah, but yeah, they win. Good guys win. Bad guys lose. It was not bad. Bateman kind of helped save the day too.
He really
A little bit.
did.
And
More
that
ways
was
than one.
when the king ripped off. And then that was another thing. He didn't like just being called king or Mr. King or something. He's like, no, it's the king. I was
Okay.
like, yeah, yeah. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know, man.
If you had to give a
He's gonna do
review.
our reviews on it.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So we'll
Let's
keep
give
out of
for sure.
5.
What
Out
do you
of
give it?
5, I probably give it. Man, I would say maybe like a 2.5 stars, somewhere around
Oh,
there.
Okay.
You know,
Now
like
you
it was good, but it was just average. It was like I would say even like a C plus maybe. You
mm,
know, like it was good, not that good. You know, maybe 3 stars if you really like that kind of stuff. But it was okay. It was okay. It had some good chuckles and stuff like that, but I don't think I would watch it again.
you would not watch it again, and if you were,
No.
would you recommend this movie to someone, or would you just say like, no, don't even try watching it?
Um, I think if for like a family, maybe if you like a family night movie would be pretty good. You know, maybe like kids, especially maybe like a couple little girls. You know, so I think seeing like like oh heroes and bad guys at that point because Laser is a woman as well. So it's like
True.
oh it's not only just men. You know, so I think that's kind of a cool kind of thing. But maybe like like family night because it's definitely kid friendly. You know, it has its adult jokes, but it's
Yeah.
hidden enough where you really don't quite understand it. There's a lot of like, like the whole seasoning on the claws right before they have sex kind of thing. It was very sexual, but it was funny because she's doing that.
Right.
So it's PG-13 too, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say like a family night, a couple kids,
That
and
kind of film.
you want something funny to watch.
If I were to give it a rating, I think I'm gonna have to go with 2 out of 5 stars. 2 out of 5. 2 out of
2 out of 5.
5, just for the reason being, um, maybe I'm biased, right? Maybe I like superhero films too much to where I expect so much from the CGI to like the stunt doubles and all that stuff. Like they didn't. I will say, I give them 2 stars only for the fact that the ad libs jokes or the jokes that kind of went on too long, like they were
Mhm.
very cringeworthy, but a lot of it was pretty funny. It did make me chuckle, but just chuckle enough
Yeah,
to give it
yeah,
2 stars. Was I
yeah,
cracking up? No, not at all. Was I pausing it and rewinding just to hear something again? No, I wasn't doing that for this film. But it it was something to watch. It was something at least nice enough to have for like background noise.
yeah,
But will I recommend it? No, I'm not going to recommend this film. For having
yeah,
2 stars and for the quality that they had, um, again, like storyline was kind of crucial to be, to be a good film for me. And they didn't hit it on the mark too much. Again, too many cliches and too many things like that, which worked for this type of film,
yeah.
but not my cup of tea. That's
Not
all.
your cup of
Two,
tea.
2 stars.
I thought it was gonna be. I thought you were gonna give it like a 1 or something. Because even for me, I was like, it was average. It was like somewhere right in the middle. 2.5. Right up there. Maybe 3 for me, but I think 2.5 is about good. Because the same thing. Yeah, it kind of chuckled. I think I watched it while I was doing the dishes and like cleaning up the kitchen a little bit today.
Yep.
So because I know you said the time was a little too long. But I thought the time was not too bad because an hour and 45. I'm like, good. This movie deserves to be under 2 hours. Like it
Yeah.
should not be over 2 hours. So that worked out pretty good. But yeah, I mean, everything was just kind of like just made me chuckle. Like so I was like like watching. I'm like like kind of especially in the beginning when she like tells him to get in the trash. I kind of like laughed at that. But for me, it was what I expected. Maybe a little bit more than what I expected because I expected garbage, like garbage, trash, garbage, and this one
Mhm.
wasn't too bad. But yeah. So I mean, it was like kind of silly, physical, slapstick kind of potty humor at times too. So yeah,
Definitely.
I I won't say I enjoyed it, but it was okay. It's not
It
gonna
was
win
okay.
any Academy Awards, but it's not
Hell
the
no.
worst movie I've seen. It's not the worst movie
Mm.
I've seen. Um, I don't know if like Justice League, like the Snyder cut, is probably a little bit better than this movie, but
Mm.
like uh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to compare everything to that movie, but that's kind of what people are doing now.
I mean that's our most recent superhero film. So yeah,
Okay.
we could throw it up on there to compare. This one, it didn't wow me. I wish, like, I feel like even casting, right? Maybe they could have chose better people or different people to give off a different vibe. What if you
Mm.
had a top female comedian like what's her name? I can't think of her name. She's always with Kevin Hart. Uh, damn, I
Always
can't
been
think of her
Kevin
name.
Hart
She was in
in movie.
yeah, she's in a bunch of movies with him, with Kevin Hart. I can't think of her name. She was like homeless at some point. He picked her up and kind of
Oh,
took her under.
really?
Why can't I think of her name? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up now. Kevin Hart. They weren't they in that one film like Bad School or like Night School,
Night
right?
School. Oh, was that? That wasn't Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish. That's what I was trying
Was
to
it
think.
Tiffany Haddish?
Yes, not Tiffany Haddish. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If they would have had her in this film, would that have
Mm.
changed the outcome of how funny it was or the jokes that were involved? Um, they didn't play on the race card too much for humor.
Mm.
It being a diverse film, they have an African American female actress, and then you have a Caucasian actress. Um, they didn't do too many of those jokes. I was kind of surprised by that.
No, that was one thing I did really enjoy about it. How it was okay with everything. Like it was like race wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Where it was a big thing, and there was a lot of like LGBT kind of stuff where
Yeah.
she had asked the daughter, she goes, oh, are you seeing any boys, girls, whatever you're into. And then
Yeah.
there's a couple. Oh, the grandmother, that was the whole scene. The
Yeah.
grandmother thought they were a couple, and she had like a wedding topper with like
Oh.
a little white girl and a black girl, like holding hands like for the wedding topper.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. So, and it's like
She
it
had
was
that
just like something
pre-prepared,
like that.
right?
Yeah, but they didn't think like it was weird or anything.
They
It was
didn't.
just like it was just like, oh, we're friends, kind of thing.
I'm
Um,
I'm kind of glad they kind of played over that actually.
yeah, and I
I,
like stuff like that.
it wasn't meant to be a controversial film, so I'm glad they kept it more
Yeah.
simple, like how you said.
Well,
But
if you normalize stuff like that, then it just becomes the normal, because then
good
you're
point.
not making it a big deal, kind of thing,
Mm,
where like shit. I don't know if you ever seen Shit's Creek. In Shit's Creek, they don't ever. It's really, really, a really good show. I love it. I mean, um, it's over now, so you can like binge it all. It's like 6 seasons,
cool.
um, but it's in a little town, and no one's racist, no one's sex, no one's like homophobic or anything like that. So it's very like, oh, it's just people living. It doesn't matter if he's gay or stuff like that. But yeah, so I mean that was one good thing about this movie, that it
Yeah.
just kind of just normalized everything. It was like, oh, race isn't too big of a deal. Like, yeah, she's rich. It's not
Mhm.
like she's rich and black. It's like, no, she's just rich and
True.
and smart. The same thing is like, oh, she's a nerd. It's like, oh, she's not a black nerd. Like, no, she's just a nerd. Even though
Mhm.
like that offended her, like that was her offense, was like being called a nerd.
True.
So that was like something I'm like I noticed. I was like, oh, that's, I like that when they do that. It's just normal. So
Right. Right.
that was kind of cool.
Right. Didn't step on
So
anybody's toes for sure.
yeah, and obviously that's a conscious decision that the filmmaker and all of them made. But yeah, man, I think that's it, man. I think we both were around the same. I was kind of surprised that we were around the same ratings for this one,
Me too.
because I think
I
I
thought
enjoyed it more than you. But
I think you did enjoy it more than me, and I still give it a solid 2. I thought you were
yeah,
gonna give it like a 3, like a high 3 or something.
I was thinking about it, but I'm like, that's why I make maybe a 3, but I think it's a solid 2.5, because it's an average normal movie. It was okay. It didn't do anything out of the ordinary. But also, I went in with super low expectations, and I think you went in with a little bit higher
We
expectations
did.
than I did.
Mhm.
So you were here and I was here, and we kind of like
Met in
met
the
in that
middle.
middle somewhere. So it's how it goes sometimes. But
Right.
yeah, yeah. That was not bad.
Right.
Anything else you need to say about the movie before we start closing it up?
No, it's just some plugs. If you guys want to follow me, please we'll have links in the comments. We'll have links on screen For Peppa MD is where you can follow me at YouTube, TikTok. I'm on Twitch. I don't really stream as much as I want to, but you'll catch me here and there in the mornings. And on Facebook, of course, you can catch me on here with the podcast. Kramer, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we got all our podcasts up here. So Sundays morning spike at 9:30 a.m. and then 8 p.m. we're here doing our movie review on Mondays. Tuesdays the Grizzly or the Panda and Grizzly. It's where they talk about Chicago Bears football. Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central, we have the Dynasty Pylon where Martin talks about IDP and Dynasty fantasy football. And we have Did We Just Become Best Friends Thursday nights, the OG podcast where me and Fredo talk about whatever's trending and all that pop culture kind of stuff. But yeah, that's it for this week. Come follow us on Facebook. Follow Will everywhere. He puts up really funny TikToks. I gotta admit, real quick. Yes. I saw your TikTok when you were on vacation. Did you know the person that you pulled the bumper sticker off of?
No. Why?
No, I'm like, no. He has to know that person. There's no way. There's no way that he did that without knowing the person.
Oh man, listen, I'm anti-racist all day, every day. The moment. So here's the thing that you didn't see on the video, right? Just real quick, they had 3 stickers, right? One was the Trump 2024 or 2020. The one in the middle, it said BLM, but it had the abbreviation that said Biden loves minors, and I was like,
oh Jesus.
So I'm like, wow, they're just okay. Anyways, they're shitheads. So they had that one. I tore that one off completely, right? Then I seen another one that said Hillary for prison, something 2020. And I was like, you're just like a fucking feminist hater. You're just dude, this guy, whoever it was just a shithead. All the stickers he had, and there was other ones too that weren't seen. But I seen that, and I was like, well, one thing in Texas, if you ever go to Texas, they're really, really big on not littering. So that's why you see me. I grab the stickers, and I shove them somewhere. I don't want to admit, I don't want to incriminate myself, but I shove them somewhere so I don't litter. I didn't want to litter.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm like he had to have known that person or something. I don't know, but I thought that was super funny. I laughed when I saw that one. But yeah, man, follow Will on TikTok, and I'm on Twitch as well. All our info is gonna be down in the description and all that stuff. And then follow our channel. And if you have any good movie review names, me and Will are looking for a name, like a permanent name rather than just movie review. We're looking for a name for our podcast because this is something we're going to keep up every week. Mostly new movies that come out the weekend of, but we'll see what happens. Cool, man. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.